Well, hi there, I'm back again. It's Anne from Room Junkie, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the 7 most common interior design mistakes that I see people making over and over and over, and I don't want you to make those mistakes. Before we start, I just want to say a huge thank you for all the support and encouragement that I got yesterday, because this was my very first live video. It was terrifying for me, and anyway, thank you. And here we go again, and I do hope that you'll learn from this and get something from it, and that you won't make any of these mistakes that everybody makes. If you have questions, ask me in the comments. I'm not 100% sure how to figure out how to see the comments, but I've actually got my laptop opened as well, so I'm hopeful that between the phone and the laptop I'll be able to see that you're there and answer your questions. So the very first and fundamental mistake that so many people make, and there's nothing sexy about this one, and it's called underestimating the budget. Now, I'm the very first girl to tell you that you don't need to have a huge budget to have a fantastic house. I have never in my life allowed modest funds get in the way of having a fabulous home, and if any of you follow Room Junkie or if you subscribe to the mailing list, I share all of my secrets and techniques with you. And if you haven't subscribed, leave your email in a direct message and I will gladly join you up and join the family, because there's lots of good stuff. And a long time ago, Neil and I bought a house in Dublin, in Foxrock, beautiful old house, and we put all of our money into it, but we had no money left to do anything with it. And that's when I decided that I would just take this house on board and do what I had to do. And I was self-taught, and yet when we were leaving, the Irish Times featured that house on the cover, and the house sold really strongly at auction, and that was the beginning of my more dash than cash philosophy. So you don't need lots of money, but when you're planning a project, you must have a budget. You must know what your budget is. You must know what trades you need to employ and what they will cost. You need to know what everything will cost. And then what I do is find what you want and make the budget work accordingly. And honestly, there are so many ways, and I will share everything I know if you want to help you achieve what you want on a budget, but you must stick to the budget. So that's the fundamental rule number 1. Number 2, I suspect, is incredibly common. Number 2 is buying the wrong sized furniture for your room. Hands up who's ever done that. I suspect that this is probably the most common issue of all when buying furniture. You know, you walk into a showroom, it's vast, there's a 20-foot high ceiling, and this modest sofa looks comfy and cozy in it, and you buy it, and it dwarfs your room, and not in a good way. Or you might have trouble getting it in through the door, which is why it's very important to always measure the width of a sofa. And if you live in an apartment, the length of the sofa could be too long, so that it mightn't even fit into your lift to get up to your apartment. So there's all these little things to bear in mind. One handy little tip, and it's very easy to do, is if you pick furniture that you like, empty out your room and get some newspapers and put newspaper templates on the floor to the exact size of the furniture. And you will see, the child will see, whether your sofa is too big or the furniture is too bulky. Very easy to do that. Also, a little tip too, if you really want a big sofa, there's such a variation in the depths of sofas, so go for one that's neater, and that will obviously fit better into a smaller room. If you've got the luxury of a big room, then you can have whatever you want, but everything must be in proportion. So it's very important that you take your time, you measure your room, and you measure your sofas, and you measure your furniture, and you use the templates, and you walk around them, and then you'll know exactly whether it's going to work or not. The third thing that I find people do is that they don't take function into consideration. Steve Jobs famously said, design is not, let me get this right, design is not just what it looks like, design is how it works. And there is no point in having something in your house that's beautiful if it isn't practical. And that's why if you're picking furniture, for goodness sake, if you want a light white sofa, make sure that it is a white sofa in a washable fabric or a dry cleanable fabric, or in one of the new water cleanables, the Easy Clean fabric range, that you can actually wash red wine and coffee and markers out with water. Same with if you've got a busy kitchen, obviously a stone worktop in your kitchen is going to take an awful lot more abuse than something that's shiny and laminate. Anita O'Donnell, hi Anita. I actually can see that you're there, that's fantastic. Just bring practicality. I trained as a nurse first, so I am extremely practical. I have 3 sons, 2 dogs. One of my dogs is a big girl who sheds, and a husband. And you know what? Everything in our house is practical. It still looks fantastic, but it's washable, it's cleanable, you know, it's forgiving. So no matter, you have to, by all means, get your house looking amazing. Pick what you want, but just make sure that it's practical and sensible and, you know, easy to live with. Same with paints. Paint your walls or paint them in a flat, matte, washable paint. You know, little things like this. If you're painting your kitchen units or if you're painting furniture in your house, don't use chalk paint. Use a satin wood or an eggshell. That's practical, that you can clean. Another thing that I find that people really get wrong is lighting. It's almost like lighting is an afterthought. And we live in Ireland. A long time ago I lived in Bermuda where we didn't have any issue with lighting because the natural light was abundant and so clean. But here in Ireland, our outdoor light needs a little bit of embellishment inside. So if you're building a house, for God's sake, spend a huge amount of time planning your lighting and do this on paper, because if you make changes in the walls need to be chased, which causes dirt and mess and mayhem, makes for disgruntled electricians, and it adds to your cost. So, you know, plan out your room. If you are actually starting to design a room from scratch, one thing that I always say to people is put in switched 5 amp lamp sockets in the corner of your room so that when you turn on your light, your lamps come on. You know, in formal reception rooms and in bedrooms, I do like a central pendant, whether you use it or not, because it balances the room and it means the room is not bottom heavy. I'm a great fan of spotlights, and you know what, they've come on so much over the years, and the light is so clean and natural. So in halls, kitchens and bathrooms where you'd have sealed spotlights, I would always use them. High traffic areas and somewhere like your kitchen where you need a lot of light. Again, your kitchen, you want light under your cupboards. You know, you need good task lighting. So don't skimp on the lighting, give it a lot of thought. And you know, the lighting shops are full of people who are very knowledgeable about lighting, and they can advise you from an eco point of view as well as from a function point of view. But just think about your lighting. It's too late when your room is ready and you think, oh shucks, I should have done this or I should have done that. Plan it in time and don't neglect the lighting. The 5th thing on my list is don't clutter your room with too much furniture. We all have a tendency to do this, and I've been guilty of it when I did the RTE show house, which was my first gig ever. One of the rooms, the only room that I didn't win was the living room, and I know for sure that the reason I didn't win that room was because I put far too much furniture in it. So take an objective look at your room, and I have this little mantra: if in doubt, take it out. So if your gut is telling you there's too much going on here, your gut is right. Pare it back. Less is definitely more. So get rid of the clutter. And don't clutter up with loads of furniture just because you have it. You can always use it somewhere else. Another thing that people do is using too much colour. Now, don't be one bit afraid of colour. You need colour. And colour reflects your personality, and we all like different colours. But I think pick a few key colours that reflect your style and carry them around the room in a controlled fashion. Throwing colour haphazardly around a room does not work. This is a little show house trick, but say for example you had an accent colour of red in your room. I would carry that evenly throughout the room. Have some in your cushions, have a little bit in your rug, have it in your art, small amounts, but take it evenly through that room, and that gives a lovely, pleasing anchor to the room, and that's using colour properly. And again, I have written lots and lots of blog posts about colour and how to use colour and how to get a designer look in your room. So all you have to do is, you know, check out the blogs, and all that information is there for you. Now the last, and I kept this for last, the last biggest, baddest mistake that everybody makes, I think, is hanging your artwork too high. Now anybody who knows me know that I have a bit of an obsession with art. Love art. I hang a lot of it. I will mix expensive original pieces of art with cheapy. Hi there, Sylvia. Hi Sylvia, how are you? And Joan Parr. Oh, lovely to see you guys. But I will mix original art with family photographs, with inexpensive prints, and I get away with it. But the one thing that I find that people do with art and do so wrong is they hang their art too high. So this could well be the most important and valuable piece of interior design advice that you will ever hear. And I will share that secret with you today, and you will thank me for it, and your home will thank you for it, thank me for it. There's an art gallery rule that states if you hang your art 60 inches from the floor to the centre of the art, that is the optimum height to hang your art. And that's, if you think about it logically, the average human eye height is about 60 inches, so that makes sense. Now that's very easy if you're hanging one picture, and you might say, and what if I'm hanging two together, or what if I'm hanging a group of four? Well, what you do is you treat the four or the two as one piece, and you calculate the middle point, and then you measure up your 60 inches, and it's actually as easy as that. And if you do that, I can promise you that you will always hang your art at exactly the right height. And I challenge you to take a measuring tape and go around your house and just see what position your art is at. And if you change it and do what I just told you to do, something really miraculous happens. The midline of all of your art is the same, and that immediately creates symmetry and balance and a lovely sense of perspective in your house, and it gives a really good flow, because everything is linked visually, and you need to try this out. It really works. So this is one thing that I am just so passionate about and so eager to share the word. For God's sake, take your art down to the right level. Don't have it up too high. You know, you walk into someone's house and you see a picture and you're almost craning your neck to see it. No, that's not what you're going to do. So there are my 7 little pieces of advice, or whatever you want to call it, from today. A lot of it is common sense. An awful lot of interior design is common sense, but you know what they say, common sense is not always so common. So just to recap, make sure your furniture is the right size and the right proportion and the right scale for your room. Make sure that you take the practical components of your furniture and your soft furnishings, you know, into consideration. Have it looking wonderful, but do have it sensible as well. Who else is there? Oh, Lorna, hi, how are you? What else? The lighting is so important. You know, get your lighting right and you've got your house right. And I can't stress enough the importance of hanging your art. And I know I become boring about this because I say it over and over again, but I really mean it. It is so important. That and decluttering. Remember, less is more. Scale it back. We all have far too much stuff anyway. And that's everything, isn't it? Okay, so I hope that my internet has actually managed to keep up with me, because it went down earlier, so I moved into the office. But if you've got any questions, please put them in the comment box, and I will gladly and happily get back to you. So have a fantastic weekend. All our boys are home, so I'm really looking forward to cooking and just having fun. So I may see you on Monday. Stay fabulous.